So once again, if you have a blanket, it doesn't have to be a yoga blanket. I often use a nice big fluffy blanket, but you'll take it and you'll fold it in half and you'll place it to the right side of your yoga mat. You might kind of place it near the top of your mat. Have a block if you have it nearby, maybe at the bottom of the blanket. Might not need it, you never know. And have your strap reachable. And I will meet you lying all the way back. We'll start in constructive rest. So make your way all the way back, take your time. Now, once you arrive, I want to give you the option to move or stretch or wiggle or yawn. Moving in any way that might feel really, really yummy. Now, if it feels good to keep the legs long in more of a shavasana shape, you're more than welcome to do that. Otherwise, the knees are bending, feet are flat. I often start here because if you've been sitting at a desk or at a computer, not saying anyone is doing that, although we were just doing that moments ago, when we bend the knees and plant the feet flat, it allows the spine to find its natural curvature. And so I give you the choice. If it feels comfy on your low back to start in Shavasana, it's fine. And you're welcome to relax your knees together here. And you might relax your arms out to the sides of the body, or if it feels yummy, you might even rest one hand on your low belly and one hand at your heart. Just an option. And take this time to really feel where your body meets your mat behind you. And what would it feel like to melt back even more? To begin the process of allowing gravity to hold you. We spend so much of our day holding ourselves up, sometimes holding others up, sometimes holding the weight of the world up. So recognizing it's not for you to do. Take time to soften back, to be held. Taking time for yourself. And as you soften back into the earth, bring your attention to your breath. Your natural breath. Without trying to change it or manipulate it. And notice if your tendency is to come right into Ujjayi breath, so we'll let that go, see how that feels. And just noticing the quality of the inhale. And noticing the quality of the exhale. Just observing your breath lovingly, curiously, as if it was your child. And then as you follow the inhale, find a pause at the top. And as you follow the exhale, we'll find a pause at the bottom. So a smooth inhale, a pause at the top, and a nice smooth exhale, a pause at the bottom. And continuing nice and easy, finding those 4 parts of the breath. Beginning to slow down from this world or this day that sometimes makes us feel like we have to do more or be more. And taking this time to find those spaces, those pauses, those moments of grace, stillness. next time you exhale, let go of observing the breath and allow the body to be breathed. Bring the bottom hand to stack at your top hand, so wherever you are, both hands resting sweetly at the heart. And from your heart, calling to mind your sankalpa. At its truth, your sankalpa is your deepest heart's desire. Repeating it to yourself 3 times in the present tense, please. I am that. And once your intention or sankalpa is clear, unwinding your arms. If your knees are bent, might feel really yummy to slowly hug your knees in. Give them a good hug, a good squeeze. You might rock a little bit from side to side. Good. And then finding that spot in the center, we'll plant the feet flat on the earth. Plant your feet flat on the earth. And we'll come onto the heel edge of your right foot and slide your right leg to the top of your yoga mat. So the back of the leg is rooting back. Unlock your knee. And then come onto the heel of your left foot and slide your left leg nice and long to the top of the mat. Back of the leg is rooting back. Unlock the knee. And see what it feels like to inhale, reach your arms up and back. If that feels a bit too much, instead goalpost your arms. Totally fine. Stretching out in both directions here. You might even take a little bit of an apple picking motion from side to side, reaching and stretching. Beginning to wake up the lateral line or the side body a bit here. And once you feel even, staying in the center, arms reaching back, feet stretching long. Draw your front ribs a little bit towards your back ribs so we're not in a back bend here. And we'll slide the right leg out to the right, a little bit or a lot of it. And we'll slide the left leg towards the right leg. Now, can you keep that outer or that left buttocks wrapping back? And if the feet are not touching, we'll slide that right foot back to meet the left foot. I like to cross my left ankle over my right. And you can relax the feet once you arrive there. And this might be plenty, or catching hold of your left wrist with your right hand. Catching hold of your left wrist with your right hand, the left palm can turn open or the palm can turn in. You get to choose. As you inhale, reach your left arm longer towards a wall behind you. And as you exhale, bend your right elbows. Take a side bend or a crescent shape here. Now, if you're in those goalpost arms, might feel better to catch hold of opposite elbows here, just an option. Or it might even feel better regardless. That left wrist or that left elbow reaching over to the right, making this crescent shape here. You might even wiggle your ribs a little more to the right. But keep rolling your left ribs back towards your sticky mat. And then soften in. So as we stay in these yin poses, we'll hold them for anywhere between really 2 and 3 minutes. I'm kind of leaning towards 3 minutes today. We're not working on muscular integrity. We really want to allow the body to soften, allow gravity to hold us, getting more into the fascia of the body or the outer layers, the saran wrap of the body. Its job is to really pull out toxins from the body. And the best way to really work the fascia is through long-held stretches, usually for about 3 minutes or more, or through massage, self or otherwise. When you get into the fascia, It creates a little more range of motion, right? So the fascia, once again, basically the saran wrap of the body, and we give it a little more stretch. It gives everything inside a little more space, right? So as we find this space, as we settle into this pose, if you find your edge or it feels too much, we back off a little bit. But since we do have this sense of time here, you might find your edge receding. So if at any time you want to snuggle in more, or even snuggle out a little bit, if that is more nourishing for you, please honor what feels just right. Head and neck can relax wherever feels good here. If the mind starts to wander or any heaviness, stagnation starts to arise, one of my favorite breaths here is that who breath or that straw breath. So you might inhale through the nose and as if through a straw, exhale through pursed lips. So just an option. You might do that 2 or 3 more times. It's a good breath for any posture in yin or throughout your daily life. Whenever you're feeling heaviness or stagnation or something that just feels ready to release, you're not really sure how it wants to go. Good. Let's take one more breath here. And we'll allow just the arms to unwind first, and stretching your arms back. And if that left leg is crossed, you'll uncross it. Very slowly unwind one leg at a time. You might stretch and yawn. You might take a little apple picking if you like. And then we'll rest in Shavasana, so the arms will relax down. And we'll really receive this pose here for about 10 breaths. So the yin practice, very rest heavy. It can be a really challenging practice if your mind is active, right? But such a yummy practice. For me, I always notice it really invites me to really notice what I'm sitting with, to see my stuff as it arises. Practice of slowing down, of checking in. And then when you're ready, we'll flex all 10 toes up towards the ceiling. And we'll stretch the arms back once again. The palms can turn in or the palms can turn open. We'll draw the front ribs just a bit towards your back ribs here. And this time we'll slide the left leg to the left. And we'll slide the right leg towards the left leg. Keep the right buttocks rolling back towards your sticky mat. And if the big toes are not touching, we'll bring the left foot back to meet the right foot. You might stay here or you might cross that right foot over your left foot. Good. Option to catch hold of your right wrist with your left hand, or your arms might be in goalposts, totally fine. We'll take an inhale here, stretch longer through that right wrist. And as you exhale, bend your left elbow to the left. You're welcome to do that again here. You might even snuggle your ribs a little more to the left as you wrap your right ribs back towards your sticky mat. And then relax everything. Once again, if it felt better to catch hold of opposite elbows here, sometimes that just feels super yummy. with that right elbow or that right wrist, lengthening up and over. And snuggle in. Good. The head and neck can relax wherever feels good. If you start to feel any pins and needles sensation, it's a nice indication to do less or come out of the pose. I always like to give that little disclaimer. We don't want to feel a heat or burning or pins and needles. That's often associated with nerve pain. So if you feel that here or in any shape, soften out a little or completely. Lateral line, that whole right side body here. Right ribs rolling back. Softening into sensation. Good. About halfway there. That who breath or that straw breath is always available for you. You can even add sound on it if you like. That ooh sound is another sound that buzzes the vagus nerve. So ooh is a beautiful sound to make here. What would it feel like to do less and to soften more? Five more breaths. The jaws relaxed here. And then nice and slow, one arm at a time, we'll slide the arms back. You'll uncross that right foot and slide the right leg back. And slide the left leg back. It might feel good to stretch, yawn, apple pick, sigh. And then once again, I'll meet you in Shavasana. Arms can relax or rest on your person. Just receiving the pose. Now this is a cooling practice, right? So if the body does start to get cooler, you might cover yourself with blankets, or I often do this practice wearing a sweater. Could have said that earlier. In Sanskrit, we call that my bad. Now when you're ready, nice and slow, we'll bend your knees and we'll roll all the way to your right side in a fetal shape. And this is where that blanket might come in really handy. I like a blanket under my head for a pillow here. Now I've double folded it. If you want to fold it more, you certainly can. I want to make sure it's nice and comfy here. We'll start by stacking your knees, stacking your hips, stacking your shins, stacking your ankles, and make sure your strap is reachable. I'm going to move my microphone a little bit because in a moment I might just, accidentally kick it. So softening in here to this fetal shape. And then you'll find your strap, and you'll strap up your top leg. That would be your left leg. I like to strap up the foot around the padding of the toes, the metatarsals. And the foot might come all the way to the floor. If the floor feels far, I often take a block underneath my foot. Not sure if you can see that. I'm going to lower my screen down just a little bit so you can really see my support there. So once again, that top foot might be resting on a block or a pillow or anything nearby that isn't going to run away. And the leg might be straight out from the hip. That might be your edge. You might even soften the knee a bit here. If it feels yummy, you might begin to lift that left leg a little higher. You certainly don't have to, but I want to give the option of getting into the back of the leg or the hamstrings a bit more here. But once again, if you find your edge, back off a little bit. Now, if your left hip is lifting or reaching forward, roll that outer left hip towards a wall in front of you so it's not hiking or lifting. And grow longer from your hip bones to the crown of your head. Good. Grow longer from your hip bones to the crown of your head, almost like there's, I don't mind, a little cobra in your upper back here. Good. And then we'll catch hold of both sides of the strap in your right hand. And we'll place the left hand on top of the right hand. Place the left hand just on top of the right hand. Listen carefully. As you inhale, reach your left arm up towards the ceiling, and this might be where you stay. As you exhale, open your left arm out to the left. If there's another block there, you're welcome to rest your hand on the block or on the floor. Let's take a little pause here. Make sure this is comfortable, accessible. If you need to slide support under that left arm, you might find it here. Make sure the back of the head is comfy. And we'll move in and out of this shape here with the support of the breath. So on an inhale, lift that left arm back up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, left arm meets the right. Good. Again, inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, left arm opens out to the left. Inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, left arm meets the right. Good. Next time we'll stay. So inhale, left arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, left arm opens out to the right. We'll stay and breathe. Do make sure we're not overdoing or over pulling on the left inner armpit. So if it feels like it's working too hard, once again, you might support under the arm or under the elbow. You might even drape your left hand on the front of your left shoulder just as an option. Or even on your left ribs if that feels better. As you soften in, once again, allow the body to be heavy. You can even relax that left foot. And the gaze can be wherever feels good. Now this might be your edge. You might want to back off in that top leg, or if you want to lift it higher, be my guest. You can even play with sliding your bottom leg long, just an option. I like to keep the knee a little bit soft. Just an option. As with anything in life, you can always change your mind. Breathe. You can always get rid of that block as well. I like the block there, personally. Shoulders are soft, the body is soft. This is a beautiful pose for digestion, wringing out, wringing out the organs here. And that digestive center is also your center of confidence, of courage. It's a nice pose to build that muscle of courage here, softly. Good. About 5 more breaths here. Good. And then as you bring attention back to the breath, with your next inhale, that left arm will reach back up to the sky. And exhale, left arm meets the right. We'll release the strap, come back to that fetal shape, stacking your knees. If you need or want to bring your arm under your head, honor that. Be comfy, be cozy. We'll call this our little rest in between. When we come into a fetal shape, it actually releases the low back, it brings the body back to the way it was designed in utero. Rebalances the body a bit here, neutralizes. From here, we're going to get a little stretch into the quadriceps of your bottom leg. So listen carefully, this one can be a little bit tricky to describe. So you'll begin to slide your right knee back just a little bit. You might take that block underneath your top knee as an option, or the knee might stay on the floor, totally fine. I like a block or a bolster underneath my top lower leg. You'll take your strap, you'll loop it up, and you'll reach down for the top of your bottom foot, that would be your right foot, and see what it feels like to slide your right knee forward towards the top of your yoga mat. Now, if that feels like a crazy, crazy idea, you can keep it a little bit forward. So I'll explain this again. If you need to see, please look, well, don't flip around, but your top knee is either on the floor or on support or a bolster. Your bottom knee is bent, but it's sliding towards the center of your mat, and your strap is looped around the foot. Now, if you don't need a strap here to catch the foot, you might instead catch the top of the foot. Totally cool. And see what it feels like to very slowly roll your left shoulder back. So this turns into another twist here, right? Maybe you roll that left palm open towards the ceiling, and you can always find more give in the strap or even relax the strap completely, totally fine. And notice your edge here. If you've already moved, if you're kind of right up against it, do less. And that might mean that you bend your top knee a little more, support, move your bottom knee a little bit forward towards your top knee. Soften in here. What would it feel like to soften into that place of maybe resistance? So Jessica, you're catching your bottom foot with your left hand. Your left hand catches your bottom foot. So slide, yes, I'm gonna sit up just so I can see. So your top knee is bent, and your bottom knee can slide back so it's parallel, or it's really almost in line with the top of your mat. And you'll catch the top of your bottom foot. There you go, with your hand or the strap, and roll that shoulder open. Beautiful. And like I said, this pose can be a little bit, a little bit tricky to explain. So as that left shoulder rolls open, maybe that palm is open. If you're catching the top of the foot, you might stay there, or you might catch the pinky side instead. Good. Great. And if you want to take some of the bend or all of the bend out of that top leg and come back to the shape it was in earlier, be my guest. You might catch the thigh or the shin. Just allow that foot to relax. And just an option. For me, it's maybe a little too much. We'll breathe. Good. And softening in. Of course, as we settle into this shape and your edge maybe recedes a little bit, you're always welcome to walk your hands down the strap or catch the foot. Do make sure you can breathe here. Do make sure you can softening into that place of resistance. You might make that who breath or that straw breath. You might make an ooh sound. Ooh. You might make an M sound. All of these sounds vibrate the vagus nerve, one of the main controllers for your central nervous system. Nice tools to begin to regulate the system, to slow down a bit, and to be with what is clearly, softly. So another breath or two here. And then releasing that strap and very slowly rolling all the way to your right side in that fetal shape. Once again, rest there, rest there. And then very slowly, we'll roll all the way to our second side, bringing your props with you. I'm going to flip around just so I can watch. If you want to keep facing the screen, be my guest, but please move slowly, as I will remind myself to do also. So rolling all the way to your left side. Do make sure it's the second side. Starting in that fetal shape, stacking your hips, stacking your knees, your shins, your ankles. Having your blanket nice and cozy. Softening in. Sending a little breath into the back of the body here. And then you'll find your strap, and you'll strap up that top foot at the padding of the toes, metatarsals, and reach that top leg forward to the floor or maybe it's resting on support. We'll hold the strap like reins to start. Now, as we soften in here, notice if your top hip is lifting. So allow that top hip, that right hip to roll forward so the hips stay nice and stacked here. And you're welcome to keep that top leg exactly as it is. If you want to find a little more of an edge here, you're welcome to lift the leg a little higher. But if you found your edge, we'll back off a little bit. And snuggling in. And finding space from your hip bones all the way up to the crown of your head. So your spine is a little bit longer. Maybe there's even a little back bend in your upper back here. Catch both sides of the strap in your bottom hand. And you'll bring your right hand on top of that left hand and find a little movement. So inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, right arm opens out to the right. We'll take a little bit of a pause here. If you need a block or support under that right arm, now is a beautiful time to find that. And then as we soften in, we'll move in and out of this shape. So on an inhale, right arm reaches back up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, right arm meets the left. Okay. We'll repeat. So inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, right arm to the right. Inhale, right arm up towards the ceiling. And exhale, right arm meets the left. And the next time we'll stay. So inhale, right arm up. And exhale, right arm opens to stay. You might support under the arm or the elbow. You might drape that right hand on your shoulder or those right ribs. You never want to force the body anywhere it doesn't feel ready to go or safe to go. If you find your edge, soften into it or soften a little bit out of it. And the gaze can be wherever feels good. Now, top foot can even relax here. Once again, really wringing out those digestive organs here. Working into that center that really digests emotion. And softening in. That who breath or sound is always available. Halfway there. If you'd like to extend or lift your top leg higher, even slide your bottom leg forward, be my guest. And you're welcome to soften that knee. Jaws relaxed. Good. Bring attention back to breath. With your next inhale, right arm will reach up towards the ceiling. And as you exhale, right arm meets the left. You'll rebend your top knee, release the strap, and we'll rest here in a little fetal shape. We call it a mini Shavasana here. Good. And then we'll keep that top knee where it is. We'll slide that bottom knee back so it's a little more, I'll say perpendicular because that would be the right word, a little more perpendicular with the top of your yoga mat. I like to snuggle support underneath that top knee or shin or ankle. Bolster works really well. I'm using a block here. And then find your strap and loop that strap around the top of that bottom foot. That would be your left foot, or you're welcome to catch the top of the foot with the hand. And begin to roll that right shoulder, that top shoulder back, coming into that twist here. Maybe that right palm rolls open. If you're catching the top of the foot, that might be where you stay, or you might catch the pinky edge side of the foot. You choose. And really allow yourself to soften back here. If it feels too much, come a bit out, or find a little more slack in the strap, or even get rid of it if you like. Softening into sensation. And if you extended the top leg on the first side, you might play with that. You certainly don't have to. You might rest the left arm on the thigh or the shin. You can catch the foot if that's you. I laugh because I have really short arms that I talk way too much about. Breathe. And the gaze can be wherever feels good. Recognizing anything that shows up for you. It is always valid. Receiving it. Acknowledging it. Or letting it go. You might make that M sound. About 5 more breaths. You're ready, releasing the foot with the strap. Very slowly rolling to your left side in that fetal shape once again. Really resting there, stacking your knees, and supporting the head in any way that feels yummy here. Good. And then very slowly, we're going to press ourselves all the way up to sit. All the way up to sit. We'll do one more posture. So I'm going to recommend sitting on a blanket. Have all of your props nearby. Have a pillow or a bolster if you have it. And we're going to come into a nice wide diamond shape. So it's Baddha Konasana, but not the traditional one where your hips are pretty cozy. More of a nice wide diamond shape. So there's a little more space here, a little more ease. Soles of the feet are together. If this feels like a lot of work, you might support under your knees with props, with blocks or pillows. You don't have to sit on a blanket. I just find it really yummy. Never hurts, only feels better. And if you have a bolster nearby, you might set your bolster or support on your feet or on your shins. Sit up nice and tall. We'll take an inhale here. And as you exhale, begin to hinge forward. You can rest your forearms on your support. You might even stack your forearms or your palms and rest your forehead here. If that feels like a crazy idea, you might stack a blanket on top, or even build a little more support here. Good. And sometimes I offer building a little bit of a ledge here. Just an option. If the floor feels really far, you might lift the floor up. Allow it to feel really yummy. You can always flip your bolster around. So taking time to soften in, to snuggle in. The back is rounding, the forehead is being received by the earth or gravity. And softening in. Good. This is my favorite pose. Sometimes if my day is really busy or my mind is really active, I just come into this shape for about 2 or 3 minutes. For me, it's just so yummy. And sometimes I even cover myself with a blanket and bake here. Jaws relaxed. You might even find that you can lower your support a little bit, or maybe lift it higher. Good. About 5 more breaths. And then rooting down in your sitting bones, and very slowly you begin to roll yourself all the way up. Move your support to the side for the moment. Support your outermost knees, lift the knees up. And stretch the legs forward. You can shake out the knees. And we'll set up for Shavasana here. So If you have a sensitive low back, you might place a bolster behind your knees. I like a pillow behind my head for Shavasana. It is really up to you, but take your time to be comfy, cozy. If you're near a wall or a chair and would like to take your legs up a wall, that's a really yummy thing to do, I think, every day, especially before bedtime. But take your time to recline all the way back. If the body needs any little wiggles, or any sounds, or sighs, or yawns, take time to receive them, to release them. As we rest here, really receiving the benefits of our practice, I'm going to read a quote. I really love this quote by Jonathan Lockwood Huey. He says, "Our opportunity is to love ourselves exactly as we are, with all our joys and sufferings, to be grateful for everything, to forgive ourselves for our doubts of our own worthiness, for we have no need to be anything other than what we are right now. Our opportunity is to love ourselves exactly as we are, with all our joys and sufferings, to be grateful for everything, to forgive ourselves for our doubts of our own worthiness, for we have no need to be anything other than what we are right now." Bringing attention back to breath. I want to give the option, as always, to stay reclined. You might stay resting. Otherwise, finding a little movement of your fingers and your toes. You might begin to circle your wrists and your ankles. And stretch, yawn. Notice spaciousness in your body. And if you're choosing to rise, rolling to your right side, if that feels okay, rest. And moving really slowly, we'll press ourselves all the way up to a comfortable seat. Maybe the eyes stay closed. Bringing palms either together or to stack at your heart. And reconnecting 3 times to your sankalpa, your deepest heart's desire. And we'll sing our intentions out into the world with the sound of Om. It's not an Om, it's an A-U-M, Aum sound. So we'll try it together first a breath. Take a nice inhale. And let it go. Exhale. Inhale for Om. Bowing your thinking mind to your heart. And together we say, Namaste.